I'm Nate, and today I will be playing a Mortician's Tale. This game is a red game, and from what I know, it is not a voiced game. I will be reading the text on the screen as we go along. I will also answer any comments if I get any. And I'm hoping this game will be enjoyable. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I can't wait to get into it. If you need me to alter either my voice or the game's sound, please just tell me. I've tried to make some behind the scene adjustments, but you never know until you actually are streaming what will happen. Alright, I will start the game and I hope you enjoy it. Actually, before we do start, some trigger warnings. There will be discussions and mentions of cancer, of suicide, and of transphobia. If that isn't something that you can handle, I hope that you take your own comfort and limits at heart and follow them. We will be playing other games in the future, hopefully without those triggers. So yeah, let's start. September 4, 10:15 a.m. 14th. Oh wow. Okay, so I can't walk around, but I can press around. So I will press regarding hello and welcome to our new funeral director, from Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie, September 14th, 9:22 a.m. Welcome, Charlie. Nice to meet ya. My name's Matthew, and I'm mainly going to be the man who delivers the bodies to ya and help with some of the more heavy lifting. Ever hear that joke about a hearsay driver? I'll tell it to ya when I come by in a bit. Looking forward to working together. I think you'll enjoy working here. Amy is a sweetheart, but she runs a tight ship. Nothing you can't handle, I'm sure. She wouldn't have hired you otherwise. Good luck. Cheers and good luck. Matthew J., Funeral Director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Hello and welcome to our new funeral director. From Amy Rose to Rose and Daughters staff on September 14th, 9:03 a.m. Hello everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our new funeral director, Charlotte, or Charlie, as she told me she likes to be referred to. Charlie is a recent graduate who came highly recommended and is eager to begin her career here with us at Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Please take the time to make Charlie feel at home within our little family. We'll have a nice catered lunch this afternoon so we can all get to know each other a little better. Oh wow, me reading today. A little better as well. Sincerely, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Assuming this is... yeah. Oh, okay, we'll deal with that soon. Instructions. Hello, Charlie. Well, you're new here, so it's probably best I explain where everything is. In your office/preparation room, you'll find your cremation station, cremulator station, and embalming station. And obviously, since you're reading this email, your desk and computer area. I know you have experience working with these stations, but please let me know if you have any other questions. Best, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. From Jen Love to Charlie, September 14th, 5:02 a.m. Good luck, you beautiful and smart babe, you. I guess my subject line to you should start being more professional now that we are business professionals. It's surrounded by these quirky lines. I can't wait to get your reply so I can see your fancy new email signature. I love that you were able to land this gig straight after graduating. It sounds super cool. I didn't even know mom and pop funeral homes were a thing until now. Guess it's just not something I really think about all that. Really think that much about. I should look more into this, learn more about your world and industry, because as I said, you are now a very serious professional. Speaking of being a professional, my museum gig is amazing. I can't believe someone paid me to move to London, and not London, ON, serial killer capital of Canada, to work in a museum. Like, take that, everyone who said I couldn't get a job with an art history degree. I'll tell you more about it when we Skype. My stories require you to see my face, and then you can hear my excellent British accent impersonation. Also, I signed you up for Funeral's monthly newsletter. Consider it your graduation gift / I love you / I am super proud of you gift. Love you, love you, love you. Jen L. Hart, Museum Curator, London Pathology Museum. Today's tasks from Amy Rose to Charlie. September 14th, 10:06 a.m. Hello Charlie, I hope you settled in okay so far. Matthew should have dropped off your first body for you to work on. He said you were really friendly, and he's glad to have someone young and lively to work with. You'll get used to his sense of humor. Your first body is Mrs. Garcia, an elderly woman who died suddenly of heart attack. The family has asked for a closed casket funeral, so no embalming or body preparation is necessary. The family seems a little more united than previous families we've dealt with. Strange how grief affects people differently. Perhaps having more time to say goodbye makes things a bit easier if that's possible. That being said, although you will not be embalming Mrs. Garcia, I do think it's important to take the time to clean her body. No one is going to see her body, but I like to encourage my funeral directors to do this out of respect for the deceased and their loved ones. You'll find Mrs. Garcia in the prep room. Talk soon. Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Regarding special request for my mother's funeral. From Amy Rose to Mia Garcia. September 13th, 3:22 p.m. Dear Mia, of course, we will happily oblige your request for no embalming and for a closed casket. I'll ensure our funeral director receives your request. Take care, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Special request for my mother's funeral from Mia Garcia to Amy Rose. September 13th, 3:19 p.m. Dear Amy, we're happy to be with Rose and Daughters for my mother's funeral. We understand that there are usually procedures that must be followed in these situations, but if you could kindly not embalm my mother, that would be greatly appreciated. We will proceed with a closed casket for the service. I just know she wouldn't have wanted her death to have any negative impact on the environment, and since she fought so hard to beat her heart disease and to live healthily, it would be a shame to have her final moments be a counter to the way she lived. Thank you for anything you can do to help us in this matter. Best, Mia. A comment from Rafi. Hello, Rafi. You are not that late. We've been going on for about 7 minutes. We've just been reading some emails, getting used to our new job as a mortician. And most of the things we have been dealing with is looking over our first body, I guess you could call it. So I'll answer. Sure thing. I will reply with an auto response, and the auto response reads, sure thing, I'll get right to it. Oh, I didn't realize that would leave my body off. I will go back and actually read the last body, and you can see we have another tab up here, and I will read the tab as well. Tips for good etiquette at a funeral, from Funerals Monthly to subscriber. September 14th, 8:00 a.m. Thanks for subscribing. Each month, we'll bring you a new newsletter featuring a topic pertaining to the death industry. This month is all about good etiquette for attending a funeral. I really can't believe we have to write this one out, but since we said we'll answer your most popular questions, here we are, because this is definitely one of the more popular questions. Funerals are a hard time, and we understand that. But here are some quick and easy rules to remember for being respectful at a funeral. Generally, following the guidelines of don't be a jerk should work. Number 1, don't be on your cell phone. We understand you're busy, but this is a time. We understand you're busy, but there's a time and a place to disengage. If you have to be on your cell phone, don't do so inside the funeral home. Number 2, don't be loud and obnoxious. You can share happy stories, but other people are also grieving and working through their own healing process. Being quiet gives the other people space they might need. Number 3, don't get drunk. Everyone can deal with their feelings in their own ways. Just remember to be respectful when with the grieving family and friends. Number 4, happy reminiscence. I know what the word means. I don't need to be able to say it. Sometimes remembering happy moments and a positive experience with the deceased can be a productive part of the healing process. Number 5, give condolences. It's not easy knowing what to say to someone, but even a simple "I'm thinking of you" can go a long way. Dress appropriately. What this look like will change based on the customs of the deceased and their culture, but always dress in a way that shows respect to the deceased and their grieving family. Number 8. Oh, they missed number 7, so this had both a typo and a missing number. Number 8. I'm not criticizing the game. It was just a fun remark. I'm hoping. I wonder what if they had a 7, or if they left out the 7 as a mistake, or if they had a 7 and then deleted it and forgot to take out the number 8. I don't know. Okay. Number 8. Give a gift or sign the registration book. This can be flowers or a nice card, but it's the thought that counts here. Sometimes this can be even just cooking dinner for the grieving family. Anything that shows you care and want to help them through the healing process is what matters here. Be kind and be helpful. That is very nice. Now we can read about the funeral home. So we are on a web page, and it says Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Amelia Rose, founder and director. About Rose and Daughters. Rose and Daughters Funeral Home was founded by my grandparents back in 1956. The Rose family has proudly served the area since then, providing personal, affordable funeral services for all. I'm proud to have carried out my family's business for the last 36 years, working with the best and brightest funeral directors and grieving counselors in the area. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you're recently experienced a loss and would like us to help you through this hard time. Our services. Here at Rose and Daughters Funeral Home, we're committed to providing loved ones with the best and most affordable funeral services in the area. We offer a diverse range of personalized funeral service options to fit every need. Prices. Burial with open casket ceremony and reception, $5,985. Buried with closed casket ceremony and reception, $4,275. Cremation with ceremony and reception, $1,700. Direct burial with no ceremony or reception, $1,905, all inclusive. Direct cremation with no ceremony or reception, $600, all inclusive. We also offer custom packages to suit every budget and need. Please do not hesitate to contact us with any questions at amy@roseanddaughters.com. Okay. It's quite a lot of... The cost is quite high. I didn't know that a funeral, I don't know if this is America specific, but I didn't know that funerals cost up to $6,000. And I know that this is probably a very low balling amount, and that there will be funerals in all places of the world that will be far more costly than $6,000. Alright, we will deal with our first body, Mrs. Garcia. We will walk over to her. This is the prep room where you will prepare bodies for burial and viewing. Because the family has requested a closed casket ceremony with no embalming, you are just going to clean the body. Click on the sponge and drag it over the body to clean it. Is this the sponge? No, that's the cotton balls. So I will explain what we're seeing on the screen now, since we have the time to do so. On the leftmost side in the upper corner, we see what I think is the embalming liquid. There's a machine with a red pinkish liquid, and there's bubbles in the liquid with an on-off button, but it doesn't light up with any additional information at this point. We also have what they call a trocar. It looks a bit like a needle, or a larger, I don't know the English name. Oh well, it looks a bit like a needle. In the middle we have the body, and it is a very cartoonish sort of body, not realistic at all, with some suds mark or dirt over her. Her breasts and body, lower body is covered, and her eyes are open. There's also a sponge, a razor, glue, eye caps, cotton balls, needle, scalpel, lotion, tubing, and a cannula, all on the rightmost side, all placed out one by one. So we were to take the sponge and I guess, drag it over the body and hold in left mouse button, and we're cleaning her body. That's it, you're done. Mrs. Garcia will be sent to Mike, who will take care of dressing and putting her in the casket. It's time to go to Mrs. Garcia's funeral. You're responsible for taking care of the deceased body, but it's also important to pay your respects to their loved ones. Follow the arrow to head to the funeral parlor. Rafi has commented that funerals can be expensive everywhere, but Americans do have slightly more elaborate funerals than most, with the reception and all. I went to a funeral of a friend's parent had died very early, and I was invited as a support to my friend to go to that funeral. I had only met the parent at most a handful of times, and that reception was quite large, but I know that since he died so young comparatively, he must have been at most 50, 55. All his co-workers and business partners came as well, so that was quite an elaborate funeral. I know that my granddad died right after New Year's, so January 5th, 6th, something, and the funeral was on the January 12th, and he had quite a small reception, only because he was retired. The firm that he used to work at doesn't exist anymore, and they couldn't contact everyone, and it was mostly friends and family, and that tended, it was a bit smaller. It was mostly his grandchildren and children and a few of his siblings and their children perhaps. Yes. And Rafi also says that apparently the trocar, you didn't include a pronunciation guide, trosar, I don't know, is for cavity drainage. So yeah, it's a bit like a needle on purpose. That does make sense. I had other ways of describing it in my head, which I don't think is appropriate, so I will not say what I would have likened it to. I can't press anything, any urns or anything. I can only press the arrow to exit the room, but I might as well describe the room for us. So it's in a 3/4 of a way sort of look over a room. There is to your left a desk with your computer. Behind the desk and computer, sort of further up the towards the next wall, is the cleaning station that we were just at. There's also a table right next to that towards the right, which I would assume holds the body before it enters into the cremation oven. I don't feel like that's the right word. The cremation process. Then that one spans the entire wall up until towards the rightmost wall, and the rightmost wall has a contraption. I don't know what it is. What looks like a box of some sort next to that one, and then right up in the right corner, the lower right corner of the room, you would call it. So just to your right after you walk in is a shelf of urns, but I can't interact with them. So I will exit the room. And I'm at a funeral now, and there are some families, and when I highlight them, I can apparently go and talk to them, and the room has a sitting range with a couch and a standalone little fauteuil. Wow. Above that, towards the back wall, is a table with some food with a picture behind it. And then there's the door I just came out of a place where you could sign the guest book, and then to the right lower corner of the room is the actual casket, and it is closed. So I will go and talk to, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different groups of people I can talk to. And I will start going in a counterclockwise matter. So I'm talking to a man saying, yeah, I heard the family specifically said no embalming. I thought it was mandatory, like required by law, but I guess not. The woman next to him says, embalming weirds me out. Do those chemicals leach into the ground? Seems strange to be using a chemical that is known to cause cancer and putting it into the ground like that. The man, or into the sewers. That's what they must do with the leftover formaldehyde, right? Just pour it down the drain? The woman, at least embalming guarantees he won't be buried alive. The man, haha, stop it, don't make me laugh right now. And I click on them again, and they will just be repeating the same sentence again. So I will talk to the next group of people, which, see, there is a woman that says, I hate wearing pantyhose. My legs are so itchy, but it's always so cold in these funeral homes. There is a younger looking man next to her. I think I might actually miss those sweaters she used to knit me now. And then there's a young child that I will be speaking to. Mommy, I'm hungry. When can we go? And then there's a man standing by the casket. We usually don't small talk a lot at these things. At least that's what I was always taught. And then the last couple of people standing by the guest book. She would have hated those paintings. She was so particular. The next person, yeah, at least she doesn't have to see them, I guess. The first person, that's heavy sigh. Yeah, I guess. And then I can interact with the actual casket, which I will do now. It seemed I took a quiet moment to grieve and pay my respects. And now I can leave the room. I talk to everyone in the room. And it's October 11th, 10 12:09 a.m. I am cleaning my workstation and I am receiving an email. Rafi has some more comments. Thank you, Rafi, for hanging around talking to me. So Google Translate puts the pronunciation of the cavity drainage apparatus to be a trocar. I don't know how to pronounce any of that, because there's a lot of different signs there that makes me want to read it in a Swedish way, which I know is probably not the right way. And then, yes, a fauteuil is, of course, not a fauteuil in the French way or the Swedish way, but an armchair. It was a couch and an armchair. That's very true. So I'll be reading the emails again from top to bottom. But first, before I read the emails, I will go to the website and see if anything has changed. And a rudimentary glance over seems like it hasn't. So we won't be reading that one again. And we will start from the top all the way down to the bottom of the emails. So I don't know, should I be reading this? I guess Rafi can help me with. Should I start with the emails at the bottom and then go up to have the context, or do you want me to start at the top and then go down? This is frustrating because it's written the way real emails are, and I often exchange between them when I read emails that I've gotten from people. Sometimes I start from the top, sometimes I actually look for the context at the bottom. I think we will try this time to read from the bottom, and then the next time we will read in the way that we want to. So the subject line reads, "I'm so frustrated right now," in all caps. From Jennifer Valentine to Charlie, October 11th, 4:44 a.m. She's up early. Well, she did move to London, so that does make sense. Can I rant for just a second? I'm so tired of hearing strangers, colleagues, anybody, male colleagues, get on my case for wearing corsets. I wear them under my blazer and over a nice blouse, so it's not like I'm dressing inappropriately, even though dress codes are such a sexist bullshit anyways. And like, I hate how their misogyny gets wielded in faux concern. Jen, I'm just worried you're damaging your body. You know what corsets do to livers, right? Corsets don't do anything to livers. They're definitely not hurting me as much as your condensation is hurting my head. Ugh, sorry. I'm out of sorts right now. I'll send you another email in a little bit, when I've cooled off a little bit. Jen L. Hart, Museum Curator. And then the top email. Regarding I'm so frustrated right now, from Jennifer Valentine to Charlie, October 11th, 5:37 a.m. Okay, so let me explain this in a bit more detail. A colleague and I were discussing the tight lacer's liver specimen we have here at the museum. It's from a woman who died in 1907, and the liver is tampered inwards, from what the doctor leading the autopsy believed was too tight lacing on her corset. It's fascinating because it's kind of a controversial topic. Tight lacing was super popular, and while people associated with fainting and hysteria, sigh, it's actually been associated with visceroptosis, which is when the organ falls to the lower part of the abdomen, right? Which is super unsettling, but can also be caused by being pregnant. So, too long didn't read. Corsets probably messed up some bones, but likely didn't do this kind of internal organ damage. And I'm tired of the condescension about my wardrobe that implies I don't know what I'm doing. These are the kinds of things I specifically research, and yet am treated like I know nothing about. I'm having a day, Charlie. Jen L. Hart, Museum Curator, London Pathology Museum. Rafi has given me more pronunciation help with the what did we call it? The trocar. Trocar. Yeah. I don't know. I just will call it a trocar, and then if it isn't a trocar, it will not be a trocar. And then Mitch is here as well. Hello, Mitch. Welcome. I hope you have a good time. I don't know if you're able to see your own chat box. I don't think you can see the chat box in the actual game. I will actually allow you to do that. Ooh, aren't we fancy today, huh? Now you can all see what I see as well. Maybe I should move that one a little bit lower down for you, so it'll cover my coffee, which is steaming right next to my monitor, but will not be covering my monitor in any way. And yes, to catch up, if you're just tuning in, we have just dealt with our first body of Mrs. Garcia, and this is our second day of in-game, and I think Jennifer Valentine might be our girlfriend. Anyways, my name is Charlie, and I am a woman, so if that is the case, I am very happy. Okay, we have a next job from Amy, but actually I want to we can read it now, and then we will move on because we have some other emails I want to read. Okay. Subject line, next job, from Amy Rose to Charlie. October 11th, 10:14 a.m. Hi Charlie. Here are the instructions for your next body. You did a remarkable job on the first one. The family was very happy with you. No small feat, of course. Pleasing a grieving family isn't exactly the most comfortable of jobs. Your next job is a man named Mr. Duval. An elderly man died of old age. Nothing fancy, just a standard funeral with embalming. You can reach out to his daughter Lizzie Duval if you have any questions. She's handling her father's passing as well as can be expected. As always, don't hesitate to ask me any questions. Best, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. P.S. Charlie, dear, please remember to wear proper embalming gear. Formaldehyde is extremely dangerous. I know I don't need to tell you this, but my maternal instincts are hard to ignore. I promise I won't mother you too much. Well, just a little. Ask Matthew, he knows. We will read Amy Rose, and we will start from the bottom so that we know what's going on. Subject line, sincerely thank you. From Mia Garcia to Amy Rose. October 11th, 10:56 a.m. Hi Amy, please pass along our deepest thanks to you and your staff for the wonderful job they did with our mother's funeral. It was really lovely. Our family so rarely gets together. It was nice seeing everyone come out for such a beautiful service. My son never gets to see his family. Also, it was incredibly kind of you to let us bring our own food in. Getting to share home-cooked meals, sharing stories, being there together, it meant a lot. So what I'm saying is, it was nice for everyone to be there like that. Together, in a way. And I know how much of that was due to the work of your staff, especially your funeral director. Thank you for making this difficult time easier for all of us. Best, Mia. Forward, sincerely thank you, from Amy Rose to Charlie, October 11th, 11:23 a.m. Just passing this message along. Thanks for the hard work, Charlie. Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. From, subject line, a story about death, from Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie, October 11th, 8:12 a.m. Hey there, Charlie. I was driving around the other day, taking our clients on their last trip around town, and I was thinking, strange, I know. Did I ever tell you the first time I went to a funeral? I was a teenager, about to start university, and a friend of mine was killed. In a car accident, totally out of the blue. Really tragic stuff, messed me and my family up real good. But, so, the big day, We all got into our best suits and dresses and packed ourselves into a few cars. There were a lot of us, so we had at least 3 different cars full of us, like clown cars, you know. While we were in the procession going to the cemetery, somebody in our car got a phone call from a friend in a different car. Turns out, some asshat driver who doesn't know how not to get in the way of a procession drove through the intersection and smashed straight into our friend's car. Nobody got hurt, thank God, but can you imagine getting that call? Anyways, one of my friends in the same car as me, the one who got the phone call, hung up and started laughing. Just laughing her ass off in that way that makes you not sure if they're really just crying or if they've gone fully off the deep end. And she laughed, and then we all started giggling because, like, go figure. Life is messed up sometimes, you know? There's no moral, no point to the story, I guess. You just remember that story, and I wanted to tell you. Because we work with death all the time, and I still sometimes get caught off by what that really means. Oh, before you get any ideas, that has nothing to do with why I became a funeral director. That decision came totally later, and it's nothing unremarkable. Somebody has to do it, and I have a strong stomach, so why not? I'll see you in a bit, Charlie. Matthew J., funeral director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. We got another Funerals Monthly newsletter. So, subject line, what to wear when you're attending a funeral from a different culture. From Funerals Monthly to subscriber. October 11th, 8 a.m. We all know everyone wants to be respectful at funerals. Don't talk too loudly, be kind, smile, and refrain from making inappropriate jokes, at least around the grieving family. Hey, sometimes some people do need a little bit of a pick-me-up during such hard times. Who are we to judge? And a big part of that is knowing what to wear. Roman Catholic funerals tend to lean more to the formal black attire rules, and it works for us. Did you know that this goes back to the days of the Roman Empire where people would wear black as a symbol for mourning? Black isn't universally the symbol for mourning though. And if you're attending a funeral that is from a culture that is not your own, it's important to remember this, to understand this. Some colors have different meanings, and despite your best intentions, the wrong choice could mean accidental offense. For example, in Hinduism and in Chinese cultures, white is typically the color for funerals. For Islam, though, it is less about the color you're wearing and more about how modestly you are dressed. Refrain from wearing any elaborate jewelry and be respectful of your behavior. For Sikh funerals, color of the clothing isn't as important as is dressing modestly and being able to appropriately sit cross-legged. Actually, being respectful is just the number one rule for any funeral, no matter what really. Remember that, and please don't hesitate to ask what is and isn't appropriate to wear. If you're attending to support a friend, family member, or partner, this day is not about you, so be sure to do whatever you can to be as respectful and supportive as possible, even if that means not wearing what you're used to wearing at a funeral, or even if it just means asking how you can appropriately show your respects. I enjoy that they included Sikh funerals. I think that Sikhism often gets ignored when it comes to these big ones, but I do wonder, they left out quite a few ones that I hope we get to hear more about, such as Jewish funerals, and what that means. They have quite elaborate funeral traditions, and not the traditions, but there's also rituals around it. What different Buddhist sects, perhaps, what happens when you go to a humanist funeral. Oh well. We will reply to the email that we got from Amy Rose about our next job with Mr. Duval with an auto response that reads, I'll get right on it. so we will get right on it. He wanted to be embalmed, and I'm wearing, as we can see now, an embalming outfit with gloves, a green sort of doctor attire that you would see in a surgery. My hair, though, isn't tied up, and I am wearing a mask, including a hat. Again, the hat is not covering my hair, which I found a bit strange, but maybe they are. To be fair, they are. Oh, no, I missed the first one. Ah, no. Can I go back? Okay. Unless the family requests otherwise, all traditional burials will use embalming. Let's start by cleaning the body. Click on the sponge and drag it over the body to clean it. Yes, we will click our sponge and we will clean the body. This body does not have a towel covering the chest area like Mrs. Garcia had. Click on the razor and drag it over the body to shave it. We'll do that over the body. Oh, they want the face shaved too. That's fine. In order to break rigor mortis, you'll have to massage the body. Click and drag over the body to massage it. Okay. Okay. We just had to drag our mouse over it. The eyeballs deflate once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag an eye cap into each eye socket to give it shape. Okay. The eye is closed. To keep the eyes shut, you'll need to glue them. Click and drag the glue across each eye to shut it. Okay. Oh, that is good. The mouth sags and hollows once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag a cotton ball into the mouth to give it shape. Okay, to keep the mouth from opening, you'll need to sature it shut. Click and drag the needle and thread over the jaw to close it. Oh, that's a bit... Hope that's not visible during the viewing. Oh, it isn't. I can't see anything. Click and drag the lotion over the body to moisturize it. This prevents the skin from drying out. Embalming involves removing blood and replacing it with preserving chemicals. Click and drag the scalpel over the neck to make an incision. You made an incision. You're going to need a tube for draining the blood. Click on the tube and drag it to the neck incision. Well, we have the tube here. Oh. And now we have the cannula. Click on the cannula and drag it onto the carotid artery. This is how you'll get the preserving chemicals into the bloodstream. I don't know where that is. Oh, it's the same. It's the same wound that we made with the scalpel when we opened up the skin. Now you'll need to connect the embalming machine to the cannula. Grab some additional tubing and drag it to the cannula. Okay. Isn't this the embalming? I'm having issue, I'll be honest, too. Oh, okay. I just had to click up by the actual cannula, but I was not. It wasn't very. I couldn't see it. Click on the button on the embalming machine to turn it on. In order to evenly distribute the chemicals, you'll have to massage them through the body. Click and drag over the body to massage it. I'm dragging over the body and the blood is leaking out and the embalming liquid is going into the body. Making these crosses across his chest and arms too. Great, now let's sew up the incision. Click and drag the needle and thread over the incision to close it. Almost done. Oh, you need to drain the organs of any remaining fluids. Click on the crew car and then click and hold on the andament until all the liquids have been drained. Ooh, not enjoying this, I'll be honest. Oh, there's a tube. Good. I'm draining some organs in the stomach now. And you're done. Mike will take care of Mr. Duvall's makeup as well as dressing and putting him in his casket. It's time to attend the funeral. Okay, I will leave out. I am now wearing a dress and not my medical attire. Again, we have some groups of people in a very similarly laid up room. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, and the casket is now open. I will start going counterclockwise, meeting all the people. And the first one seems to be 2 men, and the first one said, "Came out of nowhere. I mean, it always sort of does, doesn't it?" The second man, "Yeah, 1 minute you're laughing, having fun, and then the next, poof, that person is gone. Just, like, gone." First man, "Yeah, it's weird to think about it for too long. Like, staring at the sun. I start to feel all fuzzy when I think about it." The second man, "So weird. How our bodies just stop working like that." The first man, Yeah. The next group is of 2 women. "So strange not seeing most people wearing white." Second woman, "White?" First woman, "Yeah, I think it's different for different family members. I can't remember. I haven't gone to many traditional funerals. So, mostly white, but like definitely not red, no matter what." Third group of people is of a man and a woman. The woman says, "He always wanted to take his grandkids to the park, play catch. He loved playing catch." The man, "He threw a mean curveball, that's for sure." And there is a young child on a phone, and he is humming to himself. And there's some little music playing, very nice. And then there's the open casket. Again, I'm paying my respects with a short bow. I can't. Maybe I can. I can't write in the actual guest book, but I will then leave the funeral. And it's this December 2nd, 10:22 a.m. I am cleaning my workstation and I'm getting an email. I have tattoos. I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt, so I can see that I have some sleeve tattoos. Okay, so again, we have a couple of emails and the Rose and Daughters website open, and nothing seems to have changed on the website. So we will read the emails in order. Subject: cremation. From Amy Rose to Charlie, December 2nd, 10:01 a.m. Hello, Charlie. Today's funeral is for a woman who died from breast cancer. Nothing fancy, just a standard cremation. Please don't hesitate to ask me if you have any questions. Best, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Subject line: forward, thank you. From Amy Rose to Rose and Daughters staff, December 2nd, 9:22 a.m. Passing on this lovely thank you note. Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Subject line: thank you. From Lizzie Duvall to Amy Rose, December 1st, 8:22 a.m. Hi Amy, thank you for the wonderful evening you and your staff put together for my father's funeral. He wasn't always an easy man to get along with, but I'm glad to see him off in such a kind way. Thank you, Lizzie. Subject line: meet cutes for death positive cuties. Meet cutes for death positive cuties. From Jen Love to Charlie. Is this the same Jen that we have been... It is the same Jen. From Jen Love. Her name is Love. To Charlie, December 2nd, 5:01 a.m. Charlie, I was doing some reading. I know, you hate when I try to give you some dating advice. But hear me out. There's this dating site. Okay, so we are not dating. There's this dating site that's specifically for people working in the death industry. Okay, so maybe I'm a little worried about you. You haven't mentioned anybody new since the breakup of 2014 that we will never speak of again after this moment. But you're always saying how tired you get of people being scared to ask about your day. So maybe meeting somebody in the industry isn't the worst idea? Just promise me you'll consider it, okay? It's harder for me to make sure you're seeing sunlight when I'm all the way across the ocean. I know you look like a babe with pale skin and witchy gothy aesthetics are like super hot right now, but vitamin D is still a good thing. Mom rant over. I'm going to try it out because turns out people get super scared off when you tell them you work in a museum filled with dead bodies. Do you know how not interesting other people find teratomas? Charlie, I didn't know we were this weird to outside people. I've been spoiled by having a best friend who is as much of a weirdo as I am. Miss you. Let's grab a bottle of wine for our next Skype date. P.S. If you sign up for Dead Meats, isn't that the best name for a death industry dating website? Tinder rules apply. You have to like me if you come across my profile or whatever. I'm not sure how it works just yet though. Jen L. Hart, Museum Creator, London Pathology Museum. From forward. I will go down instead. Okay, we will start with the subject line, paycheck coming late, sorry. From Amy Rose to Matthew Jeffrey, December 2nd, 1:43 a.m. Hey Matthew, this is embarrassing, but it seems I miscalculated some of our income and I don't have enough to pay you this week. Would it be terribly inconvenient if I cut you a check for next week instead? If you need the money urgently, please let me know. I feel terrible about this whole thing, and I can cut you a check from my personal account if need be. I am so sorry about this. I assure you this won't happen again. Take care, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. So, subject line, forward, paycheck coming late, sorry, from Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie, December 2nd, 8:12 a.m. I don't like the look of this, not one bit. I know you've only been with us for a few months, but maybe you are aware of the trouble Amy has been having. A small mom and pop shop like Rose and Daughters can't compete with the bigger guys. Anyways, don't tell Amy I sent you this. Also, I'm starving, so I'm going to grab some fast food before taking the Hersey through the car wash. 2 birds, 1 stone, and swinging back to the home. Do you want anything? Beef and cheddar? I'm going to take the Hersey through the drive-thru, of course. It freaks people out. I love it. They get so awkward. Let me know. I'm heading out in 15 minutes. Matthew J., Funeral Director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. That email read a little bit differently than I thought it would. I thought he would sort of discuss how mom and pop shops sometimes can take advantage of their workers, considering they sometimes put on this idea of being a family, and family should work for people without pay and such. But there's also obviously the very important issue that mom and pop shops have, is that they're being outcompeted by larger corporations, and that sucks, obviously. So we will read our the last email we have, and it's the monthly newsletter from Funerals Monthly. Subject line, LGBTQ funerals. respect. From Funerals Monthly to subscriber, December 2nd, 8 a.m. If you've been a long-time subscriber to our emails or follow us on social media, you've no doubt heard about the misgendering that transgender people are at times subjected to during their funerals. There have been notable situations where trans women have had their wishes overruled by their families and have had their hair cut, are buried under the wrong names, and subjected to the wrong pronouns in their obituary announcements. We care a lot about this because we believe in treating every person with the same level of compassion, respect, and care. And this absolutely extends to pronouns and respecting the deceased wishes as per their lived experiences. The CDC's Funeral Director's Handbook on Death Registration and Fetal Death Reporting offers the directive. Quote, either male or female based on observation. Do not abbreviate or use other symbols. If sex cannot be determined after verification with medical records, inspection of the body or other sources, enter unknown. Do not leave this item blank. End quote. Leaving it up to observation obviously enters into a world of issues since bodies can be so different, and because of ingrained bias, people can draw incorrect assumptions based on their own inaccurate observations. California has passed what is known as the Respect After Death Act, which states that the death certificate must reflect the deceased gender identity as they lived it. So, a step in the right direction. People who are trans deserve the same respect in death that people who are cisgender receive. Misgendering in death takes away this respect. It can also inflict hurt and trauma on spouses and friends that survive the deceased. So, what can we do as funeral directors? Listen to the people who come into your office. In America, especially some marriages may not be recognized as legal depending on the laws around same-sex marriage. So this must have been written before the federal court allowed same-sex marriage in all of America. But this doesn't mean that you're not dealing with two people who have loved each other in the same way as any other couple. Listen, learn, and always be respectful. While you have to work with the next of kin, your duty is also to ensure the deceased receives the utmost respect in their burial. If a funeral is to honor the deceased, then do that. Honor them. That is the end of the emails. We will be going into the... I forgot to actually confirm the next job, which was a cremation without a name. I forgot to again. Yikesy. Okay. I will do my auto reply of, okay, I'm on it. Because, okay, I am on it. And there is a woman here. I did not clean the body despite Amy Rose saying that I should be cleaning the bodies even in a closed casket sort of situation. We need to prepare her body. I see. Oh, I don't like preparing of these bodies. Oh no. Okay. Before we cremate Mrs. Halls, we need to prepare her body. Mrs. Hall's family brought clothing and jewelry for her to wear. It is important to remove these before the cremation process, as not to damage them. Let's start by removing Mrs. Hall's necklace. Click and drag the necklace and place it on the purple tray. We will place the necklace in the urn with Mrs. Hall's remains later. We need to be able to identify Mrs. Hall's remains after she's been cremated. Click and drag on the round identification tag and place it in the coffin. Great! Mrs. Halls is set to be cremated now. Oh, I thought we had to pull out anything. I'm very glad we didn't have to do that. Oh, okay, so this is after a funeral, since she was already cleaned and had clothes on. Okay. So we will walk over to the... I feel like there should be another name than oven. Yes, we turn it on and she is now been through the oven, Mrs. Hall, and she is placed in an urn that is highlighted. This is the cremulator. Oh, incinerator. Thank you, Rafi. Incinerator. Thank you. This is the cremulator. Contrary to popular belief, cremation doesn't turn body into ash so much as bone fragments. Using the cremulator will break those bones fragments into ash-like remains. Let's start by placing the urn in the cremulator. Click on the urn and drag it in the cremulator under the nozzle. Okay. Click and drag the bone fragments and drop them into the top of the cremulator. We'll do that. We'll also place this bone and this bone. What is this? Okay. Now that all the bones have been processed, click and drag the urn back on the counter. Make sure to put Mrs. Hall's necklace back into the urn. Click on the necklace and drag it into the urn. Oh, okay. Don't forget the tag. Click on the round identification tag and drag it into the urn. Last step, click on the urn's lid and drag it on top of the urn. All done. Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. Okay, so maybe this was before the actual funeral. I am dressed now for attending my funeral. We have the same layout as any other. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 different groups of people. We're talking to them counterclockwise. 2 women are speaking. This is nice in a weird way. She'd like that we're all here talking. She always tried to keep the family together. The other woman, the food is delicious. I know that's weird, but these crab cakes are perfect. I'll talk to the next group, which has a man and a woman talking. Glad she was cremated and not like an open casket or something. Seeing her like that, I don't know if I could have. The woman, at least we all got to say goodbye. She would have liked that. A man standing next to the urn. She fought really hard. She was proud of herself. She never gave up, not once. And then the woman standing on the other side of the urn. She would have hated this music. She never wanted her funerals to be sad. She would have wanted us smiling. She said so. And I would be talking, giving my respect, to the actual woman, Mrs. Hall, and then I will leave the funeral. We got another comment. Some funerals where there was a cremation have it be with the urn rather than body then cremation. That is very true. And this clearly was of that second definition or first definition where they had the funeral with the urn already. We have some more emails. Quite a lot of emails, but we have a new website. So I want to do the new website maybe first. It's a game. Okay, we will do, I think it is like, what's it called? Mines? Yeah, it is mines. So this must mean 1. That means that's 1, but these ones aren't. So there's not numbers. There's a moon, a upside down triangle with a dash through it, and a Poseidon fork. I would guess. And then when I place my marker, it's not a flag, it's a little flower, but I'm guessing the moons are 1s. That just makes sense. And I'm guessing the triangles are 2s, maybe 3s. No, I think the triangles are 2s and the forks are 3s. Oh, excuse me. Very much excuse me. That was not my intention. Agatha, hello Agatha, and welcome. I'm very sorry that was my introduction to you. Why do they make the mind thing so hard, not like even numbers? Yeah, I know. I wish they would have made numbers as well, but I'm very good at minds, so I love playing these mind games. And that one's also 1. Let's see. Okay, I said I'm very good, and that means I will obviously fail before I manage to actually get through these, because that's just how life is, isn't it? let's move over here. That one's fine. Okay, we have these 3 open. That one's not open. That one's open. Oh, we have a circle now. That must mean 4. Ay. We are a bit stuck. No, we're not. I'm fine. Okay, we are a little stuck. This is harder than I thought it would be. It's not an easy... That's 3s. That one's 2, but I don't know which. This one has 4 places it could be on. But this one's only touching 1, so it can't be these 2. So it must be these 2. I think it would be this and this to make sense. Yeah, I think it's this. I was right. That one's free. That one's free. These ones are all free. Those 2 are free. Now you're just seeing me watching me play mines, you know? Oh well. And that one has 2. It's also really annoying color. I don't like the color we're in. Because I can't, I don't know if you know, but I am actually colorblind, and this is not a great color for me, personally. So this one is also, that means that one's good, and that means that one is good. It means these ones are free. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that one's fine. This one, that means that one's fine. Oh, that one has 4. Yikesy. No, Agatha, I would like purple if I could see purple properly, but yeah, I don't see purples greatly. It's a bit like brownish sort of thing, but mostly it's blending together. Maybe I should have chosen another color scheme, but I didn't. This one's hard. I don't like this one. We don't know this one either, so that one I don't like. We've done here. This one's also another one that's yikesy. I'm just playing video games on the job now, technically. Okay. This is fine. This was the right call to make. That one sits there, but they mean these 2 are free. See, now we only have 4 for this one. We know that one wants 4, so we are saved there. That one has 3. This one has 3. This one now has 3. We still don't know about those ones. Ugh, this one's also an annoying place. This one has 2. Means that one has these. We have these ones. That one needs to go down. Okay, that one's not going to touch there. That one's touching that one. Now you're touching 4. Those are touching. And that 1, 2, 1. Okay, now we only have this annoying part at the corner. Okay, so this one's touching already too. Ah, I'm fine. And that one can only... They got a little hello, yes. We managed. Mitch is leaving for work. Thank you for tuning in though. It was really nice to have you here. Very sorry for you having to work at late at night on a Friday, but I guess that's the medical yrke. Medicinyrke. I don't know. but we had a little break instead of working, which is what I'm doing with this instead of working, so it's apt. It fits. Okay. Subject line: news about the future of Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. From Amy Rose to Rose and Daughters staff. February 14th on Valentine's, 10:10 a.m. Hi all. It is with a very heavy heart that I write to let you all know that Rose and Daughters will no longer be in business. I had no idea how to start this email, and resources I googled told me that would be the best and easiest way to break the ice. Be direct but remorseful, Google said. The truth is, I don't really know what to say. Since my father passed away, I've done my best to make Rose and Daughters warm and friendly to anyone who chooses to use our services. It was my memorial to him, the original Rose in a lot of ways. And you have all become like family, including you, Charlie, our most recent addition. But it's been getting harder to make ends meet. Rent is going up in the neighborhood, and I'm finding less and less like I have the energy for this business. There's a lot of competition from other funeral homes, larger corporations than we are, that can take on more business and offer more impressive services. You know the way it goes. So we have been bought, or I sold. Either way, soon Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation, a company that owns many funeral homes in the city and across the country, will replace Rose and Daughters starting from the beginning of next month. Same building, same name. They're keeping the name Rose and Daughters Funeral Home for tax purposes. Though, honestly, I'm trying hard not to just see it as a move on their part to keep up the image that it's a family-run business. I don't know how I feel about that, but I also don't know if there's anything I can do at this point either. I've signed the papers. At least my father's legacy will still be intact somewhat. They have good reputation and have agreed to keep you all on. That was one of my stipulations. I would sell as long as you all weren't without a job. Sorry, I didn't tell you in a more personal way. I would have loved to have a company lunch, but I didn't have the heart to tell you in person. This was easier for me. Please understand. Sincerely, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Subject line: forward, thank you so much. From Amy Rose to Charlie, February 14th, 10:03 a.m. Charlie, I thought you'd like to see this thank you note. Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. From Margarita Hall to Amy Rose, February 13th, 11:54 a.m. Hi Amy, I am so eternally grateful that you were able to accommodate our requests for my sister's funeral. It was a beautiful service and she would have been happy with it. That's such a weird thing to say, isn't it? Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Sincerely, Margareta. Forward. Forward, cremation, in brackets, pacemaker. From Amy Rose to Charlie, February 14th, 9:49 a.m. Hi Charlie, please see the note below about the pacemaker. They can be tricky. Best, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Subject line: cremation, pacemaker. From Mariana Reyes to Amy Rose, February 14th, 8 a.m. Hi Amy, I asked you if there were any special instruction we wanted to pass along. Oh, you asked if there were any special instructions we wanted to pass along. Just please cremate my father. He has a pacemaker too. The doctor told me that would need to be removed. Thanks. Mariana. Forward, I don't know what to do. From Amy Rose to Charlie, February 14th, 9:54 a.m. I thought I would forward this to you. In a situation like this, we typically connect people like Ryan with a grief counselor or other professionals who can really help him. Sometimes we get emails like this when people don't know where else to turn. It's difficult, and family isn't always the most reliable for some people. Usually I would be happy to connect him, but I'm feeling a little tired today. Not my usual self. And it would be good for you to start building these kinds of relationships on your own. You're a treasure, Charlie. Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Subject line, I don't know what to do. From Ryan Garcia to Amy Rose. Garcia was the last name of the first body that we cleaned and had a funeral for. February 14th, 3:54 a.m. Hi Amy. I know this email might be odd, but you said if I ever was having any troubles, I should reach out, and you would know somebody I could talk about all of this. I don't know what to do now. I know my grandmother lived a full life, a good life, and was very happy, and that she's not in any pain now, but I still feel empty, Amy. I've never felt this empty before. What am I supposed to do now? I thought I was stronger than this. Can you refer me to someone to talk to? I don't want to freak out my mom right now. She's dealing with enough, with work and the will and trying to just be the best mom she can be. I just need somebody to tell me that it'll be okay. Thank you. And I'm sorry for being an inconvenience. Ryan. I don't seem to be able to actually answer the email though. Subject line, a challenger approaches. From Jane Love to Charlie, February 14th, 5:27 a.m. Charlie, I've been playing a new game when things are slow at work. It's called Tales from the Crypt Sweeper. Get it? Get it? Oh, that's the game I just played. It's like Minesweeper, that's the name of the game, but way harder. Like, seriously, it's really, really difficult. And I thought my Minesweeper game was on point after working that overnight front job desk at that hotel for 3 years, but I must have gotten rusty. Anyways, instead of mines, you want to avoid graves so you don't disturb the adorable ghosts. The main character also kind of looks like you. Want to start a healthy competition? High scores get to pick the restaurant we go to when one of us is in town next. Jen L. Hart, museum creator, London Pathology Museum. Well, I have also been playing a lot of Minesweeper. I don't play Minesweeper anymore because I find I get too frustrated when I lose, and I put my challenging rating to high. So these days I play another game. I will see what it is called. I usually play when I do listen to podcasts in bed. This one is on just a normal 100 puzzles in one app from the App Store. It's just called Puzzles, the app's called. But this game is called Unruly, and what you do is that you have 2 color tiles, black and white, and you are only allowed to put 2 tiles next to each other of the same color, and then another color needs to be between them. So you have 14 across and 14 up, a 14 by 14 grid that you need to fill out, and I am good at it, but because it doesn't have an insta-kill the way Minesweeper does, I don't get as frustrated. A tip for you. But Minesweeper is also great. Alright. Subject line, keep on protecting Earth with the green burials. From Funerals Monthly, Tube subscriber, February 14th, 8 a.m. You've lived your life mindful of the environment, doing your part to reduce pollution and generally help out where you can. So why not continue doing that even in death? At least that's the thinking for a lot of people who are turning to green or natural burials. Natural cemeteries are becoming more popular and are focused on a few rules. Mainly, it's that bodies aren't allowed to be embalmed with chemicals that can damage the environment, and bodies must be buried in a biodegradable shroud or casket. Not only is this better for the environment, but also cheaper. At Union Cemetery in Ontario, Canada, a natural burial is just over $1,000. So better for the people, the environment, just maybe not so good for big business. Let's not forget, people, this is still a business after all. But really, why go green? Green burials help preserve natural resources, work to reduce carbon emission, protect the health of those preparing the bodies, and restore/preserve natural habitats. Embalming fluids tend to contain formaldehyde, and funeral directors report a higher incidence of leukemia. Going green and not using toxic chemicals for embalming helps protect funeral directors, while at the same time lessening the impact we have on the environment after we're gone. We here at Funerals Monthly think green burials are pretty cool. What do you think? Reply and let us know. Reply to a newsletter? I don't know. I would be very pissed if someone replied to a newsletter, since we are not able to read them at any place where I have pacemaker at. Anyways, we will have the cremation with the pacemaker from Mr. Reyes and Mariana Reyes, the Mr. Reyes' daughter. So we will take on that job. There is an open casket lying ready to be cremated, and we are walking over to it. Mr. Reyes came directly from the hospital, so we don't have to worry about removing any valuables for him, as the family did not provide any for us to include. However, Mr. Reyes has a pacemaker that we will need to remove before cremation. Because pacemakers are batteries, they will explode inside the hot heat of the cremation machine, and we definitely don't want that. Let's start by removing Mr. Reyes' pacemaker. Click and drag the scalpel over the heart to make the incision. That is not over the heart. But yeah, that would be where a pacemaker could be placed. You can see the pacemaker. Click on the forceps to click and drag the pacemaker out of the heart. Now that's the scissor looks. Wow. Put the forceps away, then place the round identification tag in the coffin. We will do that. Mr. Reyes is all set to be cremated now. We are turning on the cremation. We have the urn. Using the cremator, we'll break these bone fragments down into ash-like remains. Place the urn in the cremator. Put the bones in the top of the cremator. Put the urn back on the counter. Place the round identification tag in the urn. Place the urn's lid on top of the urn. All done. Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. We are now again dressed in our funeral clothes, and the room looks like it always does. We have 4 groups of people. We're going first to a couple of women sitting on the couch. Did you ever end up clearing the air with your father? Asks the first woman. The second woman, no, we talked a few times, but no, not really. First woman, he sounded like a difficult man. Second woman, he was stubborn. That's just it. Stubborn. The second group of people, there's a man and a woman talking. The man, what do you want to do after this? The woman, it's pretty nice out. Let's change and go find a patio somewhere? The man, sounds good. I could really use a beer right now. The woman, hey, did I ever tell you the time we tailgated? And then it dots out. There's a man standing by the urn. I always told him to quit smoking, but of course he never listened to me, so that figures. And then there's a woman standing by the guest book. I wonder if he ever liked me. He was nice to me, but I don't know. He never seemed like he really cared if I was there or not. And then we will go and pay our respects to the urn. And we will leave the funeral. February 28th, 10:35 a.m. I was washing my hands with my gloves still on, but now I'm walking to the emails, and we are back to the Rose and Daughters web page. Nothing has changed yet. We still have the founder and director text that we have from the beginning. And then we will read the emails. Subject line: forward, thank you, from Amy Rose to Charlie, February 28th, 10:11 a.m. Thought I'd pass these along to you. Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Subject line: thank you, from Mariana Reyes to Amy Rose, February 28th, 10:11 a.m. Hi Amy, I just wanted to thank you for the service the other month and apologize if I was abrupt. It was kind of a shock for me, and I didn't feel comfortable with the whole process. He wasn't supposed to die yet. It hasn't been easy. Mariana. Forward. Subline forward, our son, from Amy Rose to Charlie, February 28th, 10:23 a.m. Hi Charlie, I was hoping you wouldn't have to confront this situation. Yet, anyways, they're never easy. Rose and Daughters have been asked to prepare the body of a young man who took his own life. He had a will prepared and asked for cremation, but the family has demanded a traditional burial instead. Unfortunately, he didn't make anyone his power of attorney and didn't have any witnesses sign his living will or his advanced directive regarding these wishes. So his family is legally in the right to do whatever they want with his body. It's unfortunate, but we have to do what his family wishes. Matthew has graciously offered to take on this if you are uncomfortable with the subject. Instead, we have a second body you can prepare for a funeral we're hosting later in the afternoon. Charlie, is this suicide something you're comfortable with? Comfortable dealing with? Let me know. I'm here if you need me. Amy Rose, founder, director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Subject line: our son. From Manuel Scott to Amy Rose, February 27, 4:07 p.m. Good day, Mrs. Rose. Disregard our son's will as it concerns matters of his bureau. He was clearly not thinking right and didn't know what he really wanted. Proceed with an open casket funeral. As for payment, we'll bring in a check. Manuel Scott. Oh, I don't know. I don't like that his wishes aren't being followed. But I also might go along with this. We'll see. We have some other things first. So, mushrooms. From, that's the subject line. Subject line, mushrooms, 2 exclamation mark points. From Jen Love to Charlie, February 28th, 5:33 a.m. You hate mushrooms so much, I found the perfect thing for you. I've been thinking about death. I know, shocker. Look what you've done to me. I think I want this mushroom suit. No, it's not called that, but I can't remember the name of it, and I'm writing you on my phone, so I don't feel like googling it right now. Anyways, the idea is that it's a biodegradable suit that the deceased wears is made of what people call a biomix, i.e. mushrooms and other microorganisms that help to decompose the bodies, naturalizes toxins in the body, and provides nutrients for the soil of the plants. I think this one company even offered casket liners to use in green caskets. I think this is what I want. It'll be just like Hannibal. Wait, don't tell people I said that, okay? But seriously, it's pretty cool. I love all the death innovation happening. We might as well do something when we're in the ground, you know? Love you. Think about it and let me know your thoughts. I want all your thoughts. If it's not this, then maybe I'll have my ashes made into jewelry. But seriously, I'm probably going to do this. There's no harm in planning ahead, am I right? Jen L, Museum Creator, London Pathology Museum. And then the last email. Subject line, things to avoid saying at funeral. From Funerals Monthly to subscriber, February 28th, 8 a.m. Well, this was more than monthly because the last email we got from them was on February 14th. But I digress. I am not a Funerals Monthly worker, so I don't need to keep track of months. I'm sorry. That was unnecessarily rude of me. Okay. The body reads, welcome back. Now we rarely do listicles. Oh, list articles. I did not read list articles. I read list testicles. Okay. Now, we rarely do listicles here. But for this month's newsletter, we thought a listicule would be the best way to deliver this month's advice. What to not say at a funeral. We know figuring out the right thing to say to a grieving friend can be extremely difficult, and since it's such a personal issue, it's hard to give specific advice. Some things will be more comforting to other people. But fortunately, we can deliver a little bit more solid advice on what not to say to someone who is grieving. So here it is, Funerals Monthly's top 5 things to not say at a funeral. 1. At least they're no longer suffering. Even if this is true, nobody wants to hear this, / it's probably not your place to dictate. Who wants to be told that the death of somebody they love is for the best? Like I said, even if it's not true, don't be that jerk and just don't say it. 2. Were they saved? No religious statements. Just don't. Why? Because not everyone agrees with your religious views, and not only is it not always comforting, it can also be insulting. 3. They're with the angels now. See above's note, then rinse, repeat. 4. Let me know how I can help. This one's tricky. You want to help, but those in mourning don't always want to ask for help. If you want to help, suggest specific things. For example, I'm free if you need someone to babysit the kids. Actions are better than passive statements. Cook something for them, take them to their favorite restaurant, or buy tickets to see a movie together. 5. I know how you feel. Even if you think you do, everyone grieves differently. Don't focus on yourself. Empathy doesn't involve having to commiserate. Sometimes people still want to hear your experiences, but don't assume they will. Ask first. For a quicker version of this list that can be applied in any situation, don't say stuff just for the sake of saying stuff. Just say, I'm sorry, if you don't know what else to say. Alright. I think... I don't know if I want to go with this. I actually will not go with this, considering I'm not comfortable. Again, it's a video game. It is a video game, but I need to stand my ground in a video game, and I don't feel comfortable not following the dead person's wishes here. So I will be preparing another body instead, and this one's going to be embalmed, clearly, since I'm wearing my embalming clothes. So, the deceased family has asked for an open casket funeral. Let's start by cleaning the body. Clean Mrs. Rossi's body. Is it Rossi? Rossi? I will say Rossi. I'm cleaning Mrs. Rossi's body. Oh, very nice. Break rigor mortis by massaging the body. I am massaging. Insert eye caps into the eye sockets. Glue each eye shut. Put cotton balls into the mouth. Then sew the jaw closed. Sew, I don't know. Moisturize the body. Make an incision at the neck. Place some tubing into the incision for drainage. Attach the cannula to the tubing and connect embalming machine to the cannula with additional tubing. Turn on the embalming machine. Massage the body. There we go. Incision closed, and then use the trocar to drain the organs. All done. Mike will take care of Mrs. Rossi's makeup as well as dressing and putting her in the casket. We will be attending the funeral. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of people, maybe 5 groups of people, but we'll be talking to 2 women standing by the snack table. So she's saying she's no longer suffering or in pain. The second woman says, yeah. First woman, she's in a better place now. Second woman, First woman, she was too good for this world. Second woman, okay. Thanks, Aunt Sandy. Well, she'd said everything the newsletter said not to say. There's a man sitting alone on the couch. I haven't cried since she died. Not once. How is Anna crying and not me? I'm the one who lost a parent. Then we're talking to Anna, who's sitting on the armchair. Quiet sobs. I guess Anna would be the wife to the man we just talked to. That would make sense. We're talking to now a man that stands by the casket. It doesn't look like her at all. And then there's 2 people standing between the casket and the signing book. Where is Maria? Says the man. The woman. She couldn't be here. She didn't want to see her mother's body. The man. I mean, I don't blame her. The woman. Anyway, I'm pretty impressed with the food. Did you try the amaretti? I will go and say, pay my respects to Mrs. Rossi, and then I will read the funeral. March 3, 10:45 a.m. This should be when the company has changed owners. This game promised it would take an hour to play through, and we've been playing for almost 2 hours now. I'm kidding, I'm a slow reader. We have a lot of things going on now. Whew. Okay. Subject line. Welcome. From Chad Grant to Rose and Daughters staff, March 3, 10 a.m. We are pleased to bring on Rose and Daughters as part of Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation. They will be another institution among hundreds of other properties owned across the country. But of course, as part of the adjustment process to the Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation culture, there will be a number of changes that will come to Rose and Daughters. We will send out the memo regarding the specifics and details in these changes, and we expect them to be followed impeccably. Glad to be the leading the way for Rose and Daughters from now on. Chad Grant, CEO and Managing Funeral Director, Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation, Rose and Daughters Division. We have a website for Hillside Heritage, which we will now read. So we will read that now. Rose and Daughters, operated by Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation. Hillside Heritage. Rose and Daughters is the newest funeral home to join Hillside Heritage, proudly serving 56 different communities nationwide since 1964. Rose and Daughters Funeral features several available packages for burials and cremations, a spacious visitation seat for added comfort, and catering available on site. Rely on our dedicated and friendly staff to help you with your funeral needs, whether you need our immediate assistance for a loved one or would like to pre-plan your own final arrangements. Our services. We offer many packages fitted to suit every size of gathering and budget. Ask us about our selection of caskets, urns, and headstones, the largest in the country. Funeral packages. Bronze Funeral Package, an intimate gathering and memorial for your loved one, customized to fit your individual needs, best suited for groups of 25 to 50. There's an asterisk, and the asterisk is subject to additional fees and taxes. The Silver Funeral Package, a small but special celebration for a loved one, best suited for groups of 50 to 100. That one also has the same asterisk of subject to additional fees and taxes. Gold Funeral Package. Give your loved ones the best with the best we have to offer. A large gathering to celebrate your loved one. Best suited for groups over 100. And there's an asterisk saying also subject to additional fees and taxes. And then there is a 2 asterisks little note saying payment plans available. Call us 24/7 for a quote. 1-800-555-5555. We will continue the emails. Subject line, what the hell? From Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie, March 3rd, 10:43 a.m. Can I just say, first off, that this is bullcrap. Knowing how these corporations run, I wouldn't be surprised if they're monitoring our emails now. No, okay, I don't really believe that. I'm just upset. I get that Amy didn't have much of a choice. You can only fight a huge corporation taking all your business for so long. This isn't 6 feet under. And they just swooped in, and now we have to deal with their bullshit practices. They're colder than the corpse I picked up from the morgue this morning. Who charges this much for funerals? It feels dirty and exploitative. Let's grab a drink after work. I need to blow off some steam. And emails aren't really the most appropriate place to do this. Too late for me, I guess. Matthew J. Funeral Director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. P.S. If you're reading this, Hillside Overlord, good. I don't like this guy immediately, but okay. Subject line, forward cremation from Chad Grant to Charlie, March 3rd, 10:14 a.m. Charlotte. I don't like that. Okay, Charlotte. Below are the details for next client. Ensure you follow the request specifications exactly. After you are done, I will review your work in order to properly evaluate you at the end of the month. Chad Grant, CEO and Managing Funeral Director, Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation, Rose and Daughters Division. Forward line. Subject line, cremation. From Leah Ionesco to Chad Grant, March 3rd, 7:33 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Grant, for agreeing to take care of Jocelyn's cremation. The bike accident was, well, it was more than I was expecting. I know she wanted to be cremated, and to be honest, I don't think I could bear seeing her like that after what happened. Thank you, Leah. We will accept the job in a moment's time. Subject line, forward, you are invited to attend a death cafe. From Jen Love to Charlie, March 3rd, 5:21 a.m. Can't really write much right now. I have a lot of work I have to do with the inaugural hernia from 1750. It's our oldest in our collection, and you can even see this bit of paper the surgeon put in after removing the hernia. Super cool. I'll send you the link after we have it cataloged. What is my life? What is that sentence I just typed? But anyway, this event that I am forwarding you is taking place near you. Figured you'd be into it. Might help with the feeling of restlessness you were talking about before. Could be good to talk about some of the other things you're feeling. Lots of death positive people there. Sounds like it will be a safe space. Jen L. Hart. Oh, I understand her little pun now, because her name is Jen Love. Museum curator, London Pathology Museum. Subject line, you're invited to attend a death cafe. From Death Cafe to subscriber, March 2nd, 11 a.m. Come, quote, increase awareness of death with a view of helping people. Come increase awareness of death with a view to helping people make the most of their finite lives, end quote. Okay. Join us, have a tea and cake, and talk with others about our thoughts, fears, and illuminations on death. The founder of the Death Cafe movement, John Underwood, once said, when people talk about death and dying, it tends to illustrate their humanity. See everyone at the Upside Down Jar next Thursday. X Death Cafe. We have a comment from Smaller Luke. This development is more depressing so far than I expected. Oh, it's not Luke, it's Logan. Hello Logan, thank you for watching. I hope your dinner is doing alright. I had fried chicken today because it's Friday, which means it's takeout day. It's the only thing that have kept me going through this pandemic, is having takeout every Friday. I have 3 things I do every Friday. I have my takeout, I change my bedding, and I feed my sourdough starter. Those are the 3 things I do every single Friday, which helps me parse the passing of time, just so you know. But yes, it has been quite a sad development, but I've been watching I don't remember her name, the mortician on YouTube, and she's been talking about small businesses as well, sort of going out and exploitative funeral costs in America. I know that this is in Canada, but it's about the same. Yes, ask a mortician. Yes, and thank you for loving my routine. It is a good weekly routine. Fridays do make me feel happy. And then it is our newsletter time. Subject line, different funeral traditions. From Funerals Monthly to subscriber, March 3rd, 8 a.m. Funeral rites, even in our own culture, may be something many of us may be unfamiliar with. For many people, all they know of funeral traditions are what they've seen in media. But, and I think this goes without saying, funeral rites and traditions aren't the same across the board. Different cultures have different protocols for cleaning the body to different aspects of the service itself. Religion provides different paths for dealing with the death, but the goal is almost always the same: offering support, guidance, and ease to the people who are grieving. In Judaism, and I'm glad they brought up Judaism this time, interment usually begins immediately after someone has passed. Up until burial, the body is never supposed to be alone, so often families will appoint a shomer, a guardian, to remain with the body. Preparations for burial begin as soon as possible in Muslim traditions as well. Local Islamic community organizations are also often involved and help the family make arrangements for the funeral service and burial. But not all practices are strictly religiously focused. In the aughts in South Korea, the amount of graveyard space began to shrink drastically, causing a law to be passed that required families to remove a loved one's body from its burial place after 60 years. Many families began to cremate more often. But there are also companies that compress remains into beads in turquoise, pink, or black, called a death bead. This also occurs in North America, Europe, and Japan, but remains much more common in South Korea because of the space issue in graveyards and the expenses of cremation. Not all practices are somber either. Ever hear of the turning of the bones and Famadihana, a ritual by the Malagasy people of Madagascar? Famadihana has families return to an ancestral crypt, exhume the bodies wrapped in cloth before dancing with the bodies to lively music. This practice is a celebration, remembrance, and a way of keeping the deceased involved in family news. Death can be a difficult time for many people, obviously, but that doesn't mean there isn't a beauty in the way we choose to honor and celebrate our deceased. That is nice. I will get right onto it with my automatic response to Chad, who called me Charlotte. Oh well. Okay. I will go over to the body. Prepare Miss Ionesco's body for cremation. Remove Ionesco's watch and place it on the tray. Place the round identification tag in the coffin. Great! Miss Ionesco is all set to be cremated now. We are going over to the urn. Using a cremulator, we will do this urn practice again. I will not be reading it since we've been reading it twice already. You know, to put the bones in the cremulator and then put the jewelry, or in this case the watch and the tag, into the urn and then put the lid on top. All done. Matthew will take Miss Ionesco's urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. I am dressed in pretty clothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of people, maybe 6 groups of people. No, it's 5. I can count. There's a man and a woman standing by the food. Should we do a vigil at the spot? The woman answers, "Careless drivers, I swear to God." There's that woman sitting alone on the armchair. I'm glad I'm here, but wow, I just need a glass of wine and to binge watch something right now. There are 2 women standing talking. The first woman, I have to go through all her things now. How am I supposed to decide what to keep? The second woman, if you need help, I can help. First woman, no, thanks, but no, I don't know. It's so intimate. Feels like I should do it myself. She would kill me if others saw the things we have. Second woman, yeah, she was kind of a closed book, except to you. First woman, yeah, she was special. I'm just walking through them, There's a man standing by the urn. So glad it was cremation. I would have lost it seeing her body. And then there's 2 women standing by the guest book. The first woman is crying. She was always so careful. Wore her helmet, signaled, used the bike lanes. Asshole drivers, they need to pay attention. The second woman, have you heard what's happening to the driver? First woman, no, I haven't wanted to ask Leah. This has been hard enough on them without asking about the legal ramifications of all this. Second woman, yeah, after all this, let's see what we can do to help them. Shouldn't deal with the death of their partner all by themselves. I will correct myself. I called a previous group that I saw 2 women. Clearly one of them uses they and them pronouns, and that was Leah, and I should not have called them women, so I will from now on apologize for that and call people. So, okay, they shouldn't have to deal with the death of their partner by themselves. I will go and give my respect to the urn and the deceased, and I will learn to be more humble and also use more gender neutral language. So it's the March 24th, 10:30 a.m. and I have an email. I guess it's by Chad. It is by Chad. Okay, so we will start from the beginning. We will actually go down, so we will have our yeah. Okay, I don't like this. Okay, subject line, rules and code of conduct, from Chad Grant to Rose and Daughter staff, March 24th, 10 a.m. Hello. As stated in a previous email, here are the new rules and code of conduct I expect you to follow from now on while on any premises belonging to Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation. First and foremost, there's a required uniform and a strict dress of code from now on. Second, most importantly to this is that no tattoos are to be visible. If you have visible tattoos, ensure that they're properly covered and hidden. When speaking with a customer and clients, consider the opportunity to upsell. Oh no. 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 Oh, I don't like this. I had my bad feelings and now they're coming to a head here. When speaking to customers and clients, consider the opportunity to upsell, i.e. always encourage the deceased loved ones to purchase the higher quality package. We find that encouraging loved ones to think of the comfort and style of the deceased as an experience with no price limit on it. Ugh, I'm so pissed. Additionally, food is no longer allowed to be brought in. So no cultural food, huh? Okay. Additionally, food is no longer allowed to be brought in. Instead, encourage the deceased loved ones to purchase our premium sandwich and appetizer food package. Our partner, Catering Concepts, provides high-quality food that will be delivered weekly from their factory and can easily be defrosted the morning of the funeral. I expect all of the above changes to be instituted effective immediately to ensure a smooth transition into the high-quality services Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation is known for. Chad Grant, CEO and Managing Funeral Director, Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation, Rose and Daughters Division. That is a tongue twister. I'm very proud of myself for having been able to go through that one every time. I hate Chad though, and Logan said, "Yep, this seems about right." Yup. That makes me very mad. So subject line, forward, rules and code of conduct, from Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie, March 24th, 10:10 a.m. Charlie, I need a drink. Beer after work? Matthew J, Funeral Director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. P.S. Also, I really want mozzarella sticks. I can be both hungry and angry. And no, I will not say hangry. Ever. If I remember right, the average funeral cost is already like 10,000 USD, so yeah, I find it worrying about costs of funeral and the fact that we are expected to and they prey on someone that's already grieving, talking about the comfort of someone that is deceased instead of the previous company being more into actually giving a low cost that felt more personal, I guess. If we looked at the cost in the previous one, it was not the most was $6,000, which I thought was a high cost, but like comparatively with what they're trying to do here, I guess that's way less. Oh, I don't like the subject line of this one. Subject line, Green Burial Policy, from Chad Grant to Charlie, March 24th, 10:17 a.m. Hello, Charlotte. I have reviewed your request on behalf of a potential family inquiring if we at Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation can and will perform green burials. I should have informed you of this in the beginning. But we do not perform green funerals as they are not cost effective. Ah, I see. Capitalism. Chad is a dick. Okay. All employees and subsidiaries of Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation must comply. We do not wish to lose potential customers though, so do try your hardest to convince the families requesting green burials to instead choose a traditional burial package, complete with embalming, casket, and vaults. Instead. I trust you will ensure we do not lose any customers, Charlotte. Chad Grant, CEO and Managing Funeral Director, Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation, Rose and Daughters Division. Ooh, he is a dick. Major asshole. Not only do they not perform green burials simply for the reason that it's not cost effective, they will do a higher priced. They want you to sell from a green funeral to one that actively ruins the environment with the embalming and also unnecessary casket and vaults. I don't even know what a vault would mean in this situation, but I am insulted on the behalf of Chad. And if I have the opportunity, this sucks. Yikes indeed, Logan. Alright. We will not read that one yet. I do not want. Okay, we will read this one. Subject line: latest contract acquisition, the city. From Chad Grant to Charlie, March 24th, 10:29 a.m. Charlotte. I am proud to announce that Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation received a contract with the city to dispose of any unclaimed bodies. This is an important revenue stream for us, as I'm sure I don't need to explain to you, Charlotte. Although Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation is being paid a decent wage from the city for these services, cremation is preferred here as it is the most cost efficient of the two options. The first unclaimed body we will be handling belongs to a middle-aged man, possibly homeless, whose body has not yet been claimed. No special preparations are needed for this cadaver, aside from cremation. Chad Grant, CEO and Managing Funeral Director, Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation, Rose and Daughters Division. Subject line: Dr. Sayes, from Jen Love to Charlie, March 24th, 4:58 a.m. I just saw a video of a gorilla walking on its hind leg, like a human being, Charlie, a human being. We, as a species, have seen the beginning of our end. Jen L. Hart, Museum Curator, London Pathology Museum. Subject line: home funerals. Why do it? From Funerals Monthly to subscriber, March 24th, 8 a.m. The appeal of a home funeral is apparent for many, especially if the deceased was somebody very close to you. The idea of keeping them at home until they are ready to be buried or cremated can be comforting. It wasn't that long ago that we were taking care of our own deceased, but nowadays people are quick to pass off their loved ones to a funeral home. Most families aren't given the option and assume this is mandatory. Funeral homes will almost always prepare the deceased using embalming or other methods to make them appear more alive. But isn't this process counterintuitive to the grieving process? Being around the deceased allows the bereaved to spend a longer period of time with their loved one's body, which can help them mourn or give opportunities to family members and friends to see the deceased one last time before they are taken to be buried or cremated. The idea of keeping the deceased body at home might sound gross, but it is important to understand that decomposition takes a long time, and you can further slow this process by keeping your home cool and dry. To be around your loved ones and to see them decay naturally is an important part of the grieving process. Home funerals aren't just more intimate, but they are economical. A traditional funeral, complete with body preparation, service, flower, card, and many other hidden costs and fees, can cost upwards of $7,000 to $10,000 When you're able to take care of your loved ones yourself, to wash and dress them, and to organize the viewing from home, the only cost remaining is entirely in the cremation or burial itself. However, it is important to understand that different rules apply given of what state you live in. In all states, it is illegal to have your loved one's body at home after they die. Oh, in all states, it is legal to have your loved one's body at home after they die. States like Alabama, Connecticut, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Nebraska, New Jersey, and New York require a funeral director's involvement, from signing the death certificate to overseeing burial or cremation. If this is a route you decide to go for yourself or your loved ones, make sure you follow everything by the book, but just know that this may be an option available to you and your loved ones if so choose. $7,000 to $10,000. It's a lot. Like, I'm trying to calculate it in money that I understand, and that's a lot of money. That's like the money of a. To be fair, I also think that cost needs to be lowered. All costs needs to be lowered, but also 10,000 is like the cost of top surgery if you go private in the UK. And I know top surgery and a funeral is not at all comparative, but you know, two costs that should go down. Not that they're comparative. Obviously, the death business is whatever. I'm not gonna say anymore before I tie my tongue into something I didn't mean to say. It was just an observation. Okay. The body that we are not allowed to do green burials means that I need to take on and try to upsell a higher cost. I'll take care of it. This is really upsetting. That. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. There was the homeless man. That's true. Well, the unclaimed body that might be homeless, that he called a cadaver, which I think is so inhumane to call a body, I guess. But maybe a body is also an inhumane thing to call it. I don't know. Before we cremate this gentleman, we need to prepare his body. He doesn't seem to have any valuables on him that would be damaged during cremation, so let's just worry about putting his identification tag into the coffin with him. Place the round identification tag in the coffin. This gentleman is all set to be cremated now. Logan says, it was so impersonal. Chad just treats the deceased like a paycheck. Yeah. And I think that's what's upsetting in this, that it's all about maximizing profits and not actually providing a good experience for the grieving. And I guess if I were to run a burial home, which I, for one, don't think I would be able to emotionally, but if I were, then I would want it to be as personal as possible instead of treating it as any other business. Like, you can talk about profits when you're, I don't know, talking about sandwiches, I guess. Anyways, we're putting the bones in the cremulator, and then we are putting the identification tag and then the lid on top. All done. Matthew will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. There's a lot of hard words in this game as well. I am not very good with these hard words. Parlor and Truskin or whatever it was called. It was a lot of hard words. No, there is no one here in the room. It's all empty. There's no food laid out, but I am paying my respects at the urn before I leave the room. April 9th, 10:19 a.m. I have an email. Okay. Subject line: latest contract acquisition, hospital, from Chad Grant to Rose and Daughter staff, April 9:10 a.m. Hello all. We are thrilled to announce that Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation subsidiary Rose and Daughters just signed a contract with Morning Valley Hospital, allowing us to access all of the cadavers that come through their pediatric and maternity wards. Doesn't pediatric mean children? Logan confirms it does mean children. And maternity wards would mean, obviously, newborns and the mothers. We are excited for the opportunity to work with Morning Valley Hospital, which intakes over 100,000 patients and receives over 15 million in funding and donations annually. This will no doubt be a boon for Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation's bright and sustainable future. Chad Grant, CEO and Managing Funeral Director, Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation, Rose and Daughters Division. I see in our window we have a register my own business, which, yeah, it makes sense that I would want to, as Charlie, or as Chad calls me, Charlotte, to open my own business after he so clearly is happy that children. I don't think it's wrong for a funeral home to take on the work of burying children and newborns and their mothers, but to be thrilled to announce it, and the way that he has been talking about it has been so impersonal that it makes you realize that he doesn't see the humanity, I guess, in the bodies that come through the door. He sees them as not even I will read this from bottom to top, since it's a lot of different ones. So, yeah. Subject line: home funeral for my wife. From Kofi Dimka to Chad Grant, April 8th, 12:59 p.m. Dear Mr. Grant, regarding the last time we spoke, my daughters and I would still prefer to host a human funeral ourselves and keep my wife here until she's ready to be buried. I just want to make sure she's taken care of. Her heart attack was so sudden, we don't know what to do. We just want to make sure she has a proper send-off. Thanks. Kofi Dimka. Subject line: regarding home funeral for my wife. From Chad Grant to Kofi Dimka, April 8th, 3:45 p.m. Dear Mr. Dimka, I understand your desire to keep your wife at home, but I assure you the best way to honor your wife is through a traditional funeral package instead. I promise you, your wife's funeral with us will be a beautiful, intimate gathering where all of her beloved friends and family can come together and say their goodbyes. A standard embalming will allow for everyone to view your wife, ensuring that everyone can see her one final time as she was. Beautiful, peaceful, and courageous. Letting us take care of the food with our prepared food service will ensure you don't have a single thing to worry about on this day. You and your daughters are going through a hard time right now. Let us here at Rose and Daughters make this difficult time a little easier for you. Chad Grant, CEO and Managing Funeral Director, Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation, Rose and Daughters Division. Subject line: regarding funeral home for my wife. From Kofi Dimka to Chad Grant, April 9th, 8:22 a.m. Dear Mr. Grant, okay, we will take the traditional funeral package. Thank you for considering us in this hard time. Best, Kofi Dimka. Subject line, forward, home funeral for my wife. From Chad Grant to Charlie, April 9th, 10:14 a.m. Charlotte, I see you were not able to convince the Dimka family to take a standard funeral. I had to contact them myself in order to not lose this sale. Oh. Yikes. Oh, that makes me want to puke. Please read the enclosed emails for a lesson on how to properly upsell potential customers. I don't want to see that we've lost any customers because of your refusal to upsell. This is part of your job. Chad Grant, CEO and Managing Funeral Director, Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporation, Rose and Daughters Division. Subject line, I'm done. From Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie, April 9th, 10:32 a.m. Charlie, it's official. I've put in my 2 weeks notice. You know how unhappy I am working for Mega Corporations 101. My skills, especially my driving ones, are useful in other professions. I'm not worried about myself. But you I am worried about. You're too good for this corporate scum. You actually care about the people you work with and for. Don't let them defeat you, okay? Matthew J., Funeral Director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. P.S. I'll bring beers over next week. We can talk a bit more freely. Subject line, I kissed her. From Jen Love to Charlie. Dating a special effects makeup artist. And she is like the coolest person I've ever met in my life. She totally loves Ava's possessions and was equally freaked out by the possession scenes, but so utterly delighted at the idea of a support group for people who have been possessed. That was your best recommendation in a while, Charlie. You were slipping there. I was getting worried you had lost your taste. But yeah, her name is Lily and she's super death positive and isn't freaked out about my work and also isn't too into it like that last dude I saw. Jason? Michael? I can't remember. I just really like spending time around her. I can talk about whatever I want and it's never a conversation stopper. She also totally gets what I mean when I say that, like, working with death and spending so much time thinking about death actually makes me happier. It makes everyone else feel so much more worth it, you know? Memento mori or whatever they taught us in that one poetry class we took. We just clicked. Feels good, fun and affirming, like dating should be. I'm thinking of taking her to Maple Meadows. She's super into roller coasters and I think the idea of sharing cotton candy, or maybe not, I don't want to throw up on the rides, is sickeningly cute. Then maybe I'll kiss her on top of the Ferris wheel. Be super corny and cliche for once in my life. Anywho, enough about me now. I'm still kind of in shock from your last email. Do you think you're going to do it? You know you have my support, 100%, no matter what you decide. Jen L. Hart, Museum Creator, London Pathology Museum. We have our newsletter. Subject line, water, water everywhere and not a drop to drink. Water cremation. From Funerals Monthly to subscriber, April 9th, 8 a.m. We can call it a few different things, like flameless cremation, a bit of an oxymoron, but we'll let it slide. Or perhaps more commonly, resomation. Its technical name, though, is actually alkaline hydrolysis. Whatever you want to call it, it's here and it's environmentally friendly alternative to traditional cremation. But for the sake of this newsletter, let's call it water cremation. We all know that traditional cremation and burials take a huge toll on the environment, the high energy consumption that adds to the greenhouse gas effect being one of the chief among them. And water cremation is an alternative method available for the eco-conscious amongst. How does it work? It's basically a water-based chemical process that uses really strong alkali in water heated up to very high, about 350 F. It's basically No, it basically works like a sped up version of natural decomposition. The excess water gets put through the same water treatment process as any sewage water at a factory, and alkaline hydrolysis uses significantly less energy than traditional cremation processes. Neat, huh? It's been around a while, and in some cases became legal around the end of the first decade of the aughts. Oh, aughts means the 00s. I thought the 80s. I don't know why I thought the 80s. Aughts. I don't know. Not a bad alternative for those who don't want their death to have any greater impact on the environment than necessary. We will click on the second site, which the little preview says register a business. Title National Revenue Agency. Subtitle, what is your business? Enter a keyword and select the best match. Funeral services is selected, and then is a business checklist. Subtitle, register your business, 11 permits. If you're interested in starting a funeral services business, you may need the following permits and licenses. Articles of Incorporation. The applicant must file Articles of Incorporation BCA Form 1 with Central Production and Verification Services Branch in order to incorporate. 2. Registration of a business name for a corporation. To register a business name for a corporation under the Business Names Act, the applicant must complete a BNA Form 2 to receive a Master Business License. 3. Registration of a sole proprietorship/general partnership. The applicant must complete a BNA Form 1 with Central Production and Verification Services Branch to register a business name for a sole proprietorship/general partnership under the Business Name Act. Page 1 out of 4. We cannot click through to any more. And I also can't click close there. Alright. Can I just not do this? I can't just run out. Okay. We will, sure thing, I'll get it from here to the upsell. I mean, this, I don't mean anything. This is horrible. The deceased family has asked for an open cast funeral. Let's start by cleaning the body. Clean Mrs. Dimka's body. Break rigor mortis by massaging the body. Insert eye caps into each eye socket. Glue each eye shut. Put cotton balls into the mouth. Sew the jaw closed. Sew the jaw closed. I still don't know that ish. And moisturize the body. No, didn't want to be moisturized today. There we go. Make an incision at the neck. Place some tubing into the incision for drainage. Touch the cannula into the tubing. Connect the embalming machine to the cannula with additional tubing. There we go. Turn on the embalming machine and massage the body. Incision shut, and then we use the trocar to drain the organs. I missed. I have to do it again. There we go. All done. Mike will take care of Mrs. Dimka's makeup as well as dressing and putting her in her casket. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of people and an open casket. We will speak to the 2 people standing by the table. First person, I'm starving. Why do these things always make me so hungry? Second person, you're always hungry? The two people sitting on the couch. First person. It's cold in here. It's so cold in here. I think they have the air conditioning on too high. Second person. Yeah? Yeah. Let's go for a walk later. It's really nice out. It would be good to stretch my legs. The two people standing by the casket. The first person. Do you think we did the right thing? I feel bad not doing what Mom asked for. Second person. The husband, Mr. Dimka. I know, honey, but what that Chad guy said seemed right. We don't want to dishonor her memory by letting her rot. First person. Sniffles. Yeah, I just want Mom to know I loved her. Wish I hadn't yelled at her before. Second person, the husband. Shh, it's okay. She knew you loved her. Fights happen. Please don't be hard on yourself. Second person. Yeah, I'm going to miss her. The husband. Me too. That's horrible. That is absolutely horrible. Knowing even more so that it was the wife's request, that really does make me mad. The two people standing by the guest book, the first person said, this feels so impersonal. She would have hated this. Second person. Yeah, but I don't know. They must have had their reasons. First person. Oh hey, what did you think of that trailer I sent you? Second person. Oh yeah, I heard that show was so good. I saw a video of the one kid actor doing karaoke. I will go and pay my respects to the deceased Mrs. Dimka, and I will leave the August 30, 9 a.m. The music changed and the room changed. We are in a much smaller office with just a table, no embalming or cremation, anything in the behind the desk. The desk has my computer on it, and it's right up against a wall where there are 3 posters that are framed. There are mushrooms in the leftmost one, in the middle one there are butterflies, and in the rightmost ones there seems to be a mixture of some mushrooms and acorns, maybe those little guys from Zelda. I don't know. There's a window on the right wall, and some little bricks everywhere alongside some plants and stuff, and there's some more chairs standing in front of the desk, so you can have people joining you for meetings. Okay. Subject line: congratulations from Amy Rose to Charlie. August 30, 8:24 a.m. Charlie, dear, I am so proud of you. I knew there was something special in you when I hired you for Rose and Daughters. If there's anything I can do for you, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm always happy to help. Best wishes, Amy Rose. P.S. I sorely miss you and Matthew's terrible sense of humor. Subject line: you'll never believe what new job I am working now. Open this email. Okay, it's written like a clickbait. Okay, I'm gonna read this again. Subject line: I want you to know, if you're relying on my voice to describe things, that every single word in this is capitalized, the first word, like old people writing on Facebook, and titles and clickbait. So this is great. I'm really loving this. Subject line: you'll never believe what new job I am working now. Open this email to find out! Exclamation mark. From Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie, August 29th, 11:22 a.m. Hiya Charlie. When I first became a Hersey driver, I was told that my most important job wasn't steering. It was sympathizing. I respectfully disagree. And thankfully, I concentrated on my driving skills, since I'm now working as a, wait for it, Bus driver. A school bus driver, Charlie. Can you believe that? Pretty sure I said the most important part of my job now wasn't steering. I'd be fired immediately. I didn't know how else to tell ya. For some reason I was worried you'd think less of me. But I don't know why. You've never been the judgmental kind. And besides, corpses are way easier to deal with than children. Screaming children, I might add. Actually, I love it. These kids can be pretty cute, but don't tell Amy I told you that. She was always harping on me not having any children and being all cynical about them. Congrats on your new business, Charlie. I'm proud of you. I'll swing by your new place one day and show you my new wheels. Maybe we can grab a bite to eat. Be seeing ya, Matthew J. Subject line: Congratulations on your new business. From Jen Love to Charlie, August 29th, 4:30 a.m. Charlie, I am so happy for you. I know it's been a rough year for you. Seriously, I think our wine intake saw a bazillion% increase, but you've stuck through it all like a champ. You deserve this. Finally being your own boss is a great move for you. No more having to explain anything you don't want to. I'll try not to be too cheesy right now. Can't wait to be home next week for a visit and check out your new space. Always, Jen L. Hart, Museum Curator, London Pathology Museum. P.S. Have you heard about these green burial pods? When I find the link in one of my million open tabs, I'll shoot it over to you. Subject line: Today, from Eileen Hansen to Charlie, August 30, 8:11 a.m. Dear Charlie, today's the day already, isn't it? I can't believe how quickly this has come up. Thank you for your understanding and for your work. You've made today easier already. See you at 1 p.m. Best, Eileen Hansen. There's another tab, which it says Mongolia Forest. Title: Funeral Homes and Natural Burial Park. Our services: Mongolia Forest, named after the Mongolia tree that surround the funeral home, specializes in at-home funerals and green burials in our natural burial park. Our goal is to empower families and encourage them to have a closer relationship with death and the dying process. The death of a loved one can be a confusing and sometimes traumatic time, and we want you to feel fully involved in your loved one's death care decisions. Whether you are looking to care for your loved one from the comfort of your home, be present during the cremation, or bury them in our natural cemetery, Mongolia Forest is here to work with you and provide these simple but intimate and meaningful options. Natural Burial Park. Our natural burial park allows the body to return to the earth and recycle naturally. It is intended as an environmentally sustainable alternative to existing funeral practices. Our park has room for bodies of all sizes and ages, as well as beloved pets. Families also have the option to bury their loved ones themselves, if they so choose. Prices. We believe in being transparent about our prices and practices. We are happy to explain all of our prices, work within your budget, and hope to make you feel comfortable and confident in your decisions. Let us know if we can answer any of your questions. Home funeral, 1,000, all-inclusive. Green burial and service, 2,250 for adults, all-inclusive. Infants are buried at no charge. We can provide a 3x3 plot and help operating and closing the grave. And then last, direct cremation, 600, all-inclusive. That is more humane, I think, than being happy about working in partnership with the pediatric and maternal wards. I think that the death of a child is always so painful for the parents, and infants even more so. You never even had proper time to get to know your child before they were taken from you. So the fact that they're buried at no charge feels more humane than what Chad was doing. Actually, I can share a story I had. So is something I sometimes think about. Last year, I lived about a 30-minute walk from university, so I took the walk every single day, and most days I took the exact same route, and that route had a path by a funeral home, and I sometimes saw caskets in the mornings if I had a late lecture or if there was an early funeral, to be taken to the car. And it had just been a sort of back of the mind thing for me. I hadn't been very upset seeing it. It is part of life. And it hadn't ever made me stop and really take in what was happening. But then one morning, it was extremely cold, and I remember it being so cold that I hurried between the patches of sun so I could warm up in the sun again before going back into the shadows, because the shadow was so freezing. The city I live in is very windy, and the wind can be bitingly cold. But I was walking past the burial home, and there was a casket, but the casket was of a child's size. It was not an adult casket. And it was the first time that it made me really stop and look. I wasn't staring sort of right outside of the burial home. I was a street away, so I'm hoping I was not disrespectful, but I think the fact that it was not an adult's casket, it was a child-sized casket, and it looked so small when the two men were carrying it to the car. It felt more sad in a horrible way than it did seeing all the adult caskets. Many adults are taken before their time, and I only think that a death can be comforting when it is coming from old age and the person is allowed to pass away of natural causes, and it's a painless death. But it's easier for your mind not to think about all the years lost when it's an adult. But when you see a casket so small and it is a child, all I could think of was that child's parents. And putting myself as an adult into that situation of attending not even my own child's funeral, but maybe a friend's child's funeral. I have a lot of family friends and friends that might, that do have children, and that really upset me. And that really made me notice that funeral home properly for the first time. And then I lived there for half a year longer, and now I've moved, so I don't walk past the funeral home anymore. I walk past a Greg's instead. But yeah, it sucks when children die. I think I am at least more empathetic towards when children die and I don't know who has passed away. I can't watch videos hearing about child death, and newspapers always upset me as well. And then I don't have that with adults. Logan said that made him tear up. Yeah, I sometimes think about it and I also tear up. It is shitty. And I guess that's what this game wants us to, I don't know, look at. It's not taboo to talk about, and maybe it's important to talk about it. Oh well. If you have any stories you want to share in the comments, I'm more than willing to read them out loud as well. Because I think it's important to discuss this. So I'll explain the new scene. I exited the room and we are what looks like behind the building of Mongolia's forests, and we are outside and against the wall at the very north of the three-quarter way we are looking at the room sort of thing is a table with food. There are 2 graves that only have trees, no headstones. In the left lower corner, in the right lower corner, they are burying a body that is wrapped in white cloth, maybe those echo pods sort of things. And there's a tree ready to be planted in lieu of a headstone. And then instead of a right hand wall, there is the hedge of Mongolia bushes. There are a couple of people. They are not dressed in all black, but wear normal clothes. Some of them are standing around, some of them are crying. There's a child partaking in the funeral, and then there are 2 adults filling in the grave. So I'm going to talk to them in order. The first person says, "This hurts. I thought it'd be easier, but it's not. It hurts so much. Thank you for helping me give her the funeral she wanted. Anyway, I think we're ready to get started now." She moves, and I step forward, and it fades to white, and the music starts playing. That's the end of the game. The game designer is Gabby D'Arencio, and I will not be able, I think, to read all the names here, but that is the game. Game. Thank you all for joining me playing this game. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it. I have a lot of other indie games that I hope to get through in the upcoming weeks. I hope they will be as good as this one. It was informative. It was respectful. It touched some difficult subjects. But I think it was also very beautiful, and it was a game perhaps showing the importance of a more humane death industry. Oh well. Thank you all for watching this stream, or if you are watching it later, I hope you enjoyed it as well. I will be heading off now to probably play other games, but we will meet again. I don't know when I will be streaming again. I have forced myself not to put a schedule on it because I cannot hold schedules with my very unschedulable life at this moment. But I will give a few hours notice, perhaps not a few hours notice. Perhaps it's just I am playing this now, and it will not always be an entire indie game in its full. But I hope you enjoyed watching me play indie games. I want to support more indie games. All the indie games I will be playing have been acquired in legal ways, meaning I have not downloaded any game illegally. They have all been paid for, or they are part of the racial injustice bundle that Itch.io put out a few months ago to support the Black Lives Matter movement. I donated money, I brought myself a pack, I donated the same amount of money and brought Jordan a pack. So hopefully, Jordan, you are not watching this, so that you can also partake in these games. I don't know if that pack is still on sale. If you have it, you should go through it. There has been some very interesting RPG games that I saw that I want to maybe put on at one point in the future, and a great slew of games that seem to be racially and otherwise marginalized, inclusive games that thread on subjects in a respectful way, and also some that are more fun. For example, there's a little duck you can download to have running around on your desktop the way that we used to do back in the days. Oh well, I've been talking on and on. I will be ending the stream here, and I will leave it running for a few more minutes if there are any last parting words you want to share with me. But I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good day, morning, or evening, depending on where you are. Goodbye, everyone.